Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my Geek Corner. So, continuing with my story of my very first D&D session that I ever campaigned, the beginning of the Tales of Harak. I forgot to mention, this was taking place during 3.5 D&D was the system we were using, because 5th edition hadn't come out then. My characters were all level 3. So they had managed to beat a couple of demons and devils as they were escaping. They escaped through a portal, and they had two kind of interesting side quests that kind of set up some lore before they got onto the main adventure. So the first one they got to, honestly, this was more a lesson for me about make sure what magic items to give your players. So they had teleported into this underground mountain fastness, scouted around a little bit, found out it was the lair of a big, angry, ancient red dragon. Something which they could not fight. And if you saw my last video, there's kind of a theme going on. I had not wanted this campaign to be all about hacking and slashing. I wanted my players to really feel that they were in a world that was going to kill them if they weren't smart, which I think paid off in the end because they did get to level 18, 19 by the end. So I feel that gave them a sense of building up to something spectacular. Anyway, they're in the lair of this big red dragon trying to sneak through. They had figured out that the dragon's hoard contained I think it was like a teleportation stone or something that could essentially jump them out of the cave. They had failed a few saving throws, and the red dragon came upon them while they were on an underground river that was racing towards this dragon's lair. Now, the boat I had given them to sail in down this river was a magical boat, just in the sense that you can control it with your mind. And I remember this was the first time that one of my players just gobsmacked me, and I came to realize that your players are always, if you lay out options A, B, and C, your players are going to choose option X. It's not even going to be, D and E, like something in the next progression. They're going to come up with something just outlandish that never even occurred to you. And that's kind of how I felt with this, because I had told them, hey, this boat is controlled telepathically. You form. This was before attunement was a thing, but that's kind of what it was. You attuned to this boat and it obeyed your commands. So we had, I think it was the ranger who was captaining the boat, and I was having the players make rolls to dodge the dragon's fire breath attacks because she didn't want to get real close to the water. They were managing to do that, and the dragon was finally getting so exasperated that she was going to try to dive at them, despite the risks of the water. And my ranger just said, I can control this with my mind, right? It'll do anything I tell it to. I'm like, well, yeah, anything a boat can do. You can't make it fly in the air or anything. And he just goes, I tell it to sink. I was completely caught off guard, and I'm laughing at this because in hindsight, that seems, absolutely. Why wouldn't it go down? Boats can certainly go down. But at the moment, I just remember thinking to myself, why didn't I see that coming? So, long story short, I narrate how the boat dives down, the red dragon's caught off surprise, failed a dexterity saving throw, plunged into the water. It didn't kill her, but it incapacitated her enough that the party was able to get to her treasure hoard, snatch up some pretty hefty loot before finding this teleportation stone thing and zapping out. Now, they didn't have a place that they could go to. It zapped them to a random location, and this was the second location, which was the place, if you remember before, I said Harak, the BBEG, had an artifact called the Staff of Illuminus. And they teleported to the place where the Staff of Illuminus was created. And I was dropping some heavy lore bits in there with them, because this was a place where hundreds of mind flayers, illithids, had been sacrificed to create this powerful artifact. However, the downside was that there was a mist that was continuously creeping onto them. I know I got this idea from somewhere, I just forget where. But if they. Oh, I know where I got it from. I got it from the Wheel of Time series. In the Wheel of Time series, there's a city where there is this mist that if it catches up to you, it kills you and traps your soul. I had forgotten about that. Wow. Yeah, so I basically stole that idea from the Wheel of Time series. And yeah, it gave like necrotic or acid. It gave some really bad damage if you stayed in it for too long. And of course, I think they were level 4. I gave them a level up after the dragon. They were level 4, but it would deplete like half their health if they stayed in for more than 2 rounds. It was nasty stuff. It was also occupied by a group of Slads, the chaotic, the realm of chaos inhabitants, or like frog people. Really interesting lore behind them. But the critical thing is that when they attack you, they inject their eggs into you. And so one of our characters got really sick, almost to the point of dying, like full out, because the egg was doing damage to them. And I think it's like 24 hours if you don't get it out. The egg ruptures, and your character dies, and a Slad is born out of your corpse. But what was key for them was they found out this was the place that the Staff of Illuminus was founded. They got some critical information about how to use the staff, which came into play in the continuation of the series after they found yet another teleportation thing that zapped them to Dinotopia. And if anyone knows the Dinotopia series, it was a fantastic book about humans living with dinosaurs, and that is where I set the main part of this first campaign. Anyway, if you enjoyed hearing about this, I'll keep talking about it, because there was some really fun stuff, metaphysical stuff, gameplay stuff, just bending the rules of the 30.5 system in really interesting ways. So anyway, have a good Friday, everybody. Hope you have a good weekend. I'll see you all next week.